Okay, listen, at this point most of us have seen the leaks, so let's get a bit spoilery in today's video. I'm not gonna talk about Joel, what happened to him, because that's whole another dimension to explore and get angry about. But what I will talk about is Abby. Who is Abby? What is her connection in this story and the first game? From the leaks, what does she do? Do we play as her? How long? All of that in today's video, so let's begin. Also, Muso, no gameplay leaked footage. The biggest thing that is messing with my head for the past couple of days is why isn't Abby appearing, or why Naughty Dog or Sony are hiding her in any marketing or promotional materials in terms of we playing as her, because we've seen in trailers and the new gameplay trailer, which we'll talk about in just a second, how they buffed her. But why aren't they talking about it? What is going on? Well, we know Abby is basically the daughter of the first game's surgeon who was doing some nasty stuff to Ellie by calling it a good thing for the humanity, and Joel did what he had to and killed that doctor, which actually nobody wanted to do that, nobody cared about it because it had no significance at that time. And I'm sure people will say that that's the point. Naughty Dog are trying to show you that each action of you in any situation has major and massive consequences. If that's the case, where are David's friends? We bodied him like a mofo. Surely there's someone related to David, maybe his wife, his daughter. If Abby is turned out to be David's daughter, I'm paying $120 for this game because that's a cool plot I can actually get behind. But either way, that is her connection to the first game and the first story. From the leaks, we've seen more than just that. We've seen that she is solely responsible for capturing, kidnapping, and then brutally murdering, victimizing, and playing golf club session with Joel. Yep, they captured and kidnapped Tommy to lure Joel in. They get that. They do golf club session. Now Owen, one of the group members, he wasn't happy about what they were doing. But since everyone was on board to kill Joel to get that over with, they were like, okay, get it over with. We don't want that. What a way for Joel to go out. But that's not just a ridiculous part. In the leaks, we've seen that we play as her. And now from the leaks, it is confirmed that we play actually more than just a few hours as Abby. The story does go back and forth. That is something really important to mention. That story does go back and forth between Abby and Ellie. The leaked scene where you see Abby choking Ellie and then Ellie doing things to Abby, you actually play the sequence back and forth. If you go watch that, the red part of the game, you're playing as Abby. You're trying to sneak and attack Ellie, but then when Abby chokes Ellie, the game actually switches and gives you the control of Ellie, and now you're smashing square to get rid of that choke. I don't know if anyone noticed that, but the game actually does go back and forth, and you actually see Joel's death twice, which is a freaked up part about this whole thing. You actually see Joel's death, one from Ellie's perspective because the story is bouncing back between Abby and Ellie, not in a way we think, but in the different way, and then you see again why Abby did that. So first you see why Abby did that, and then you see how Ellie sees whatever the whole situation is. But then again, if that's what Naughty Dog and Sony are trying to go, as you know, that we have right to criticize them, sure, I'm still trying to find some excuses to justify that. But why are they avoiding them? Why are they avoiding the whole Abby part? Why are they not telling people who have not seen the leaks and spoilers that, hey, it's just a warning, but you may play some other characters as well? Are they using Abby as a shock value? Oh, look at that, so massive consequences, but here's a bonus, you can play as them. We're gonna come to that in just a second. She's even more buffed in the new gameplay scenes. Now personally, I have no worries in video games on how they make and design models and characters, especially women. When a fictional story goes to being an art, and now you've connected with it so much, you're trying to get the realistic approach. Just watch the Inside the Details video. They said they're trying to go for the realistic approach. That's not realistic. Come on, y'all. Just look at MMA fighters, women fighters. They don't even come close to what Abby is like. And not to mention Abby's living in zombie apocalypse. Like, I'm happy for the Waynes popping out, but god dang, they make Yara look more old than the previous trailer. Come on, hashtag justice for Yara. But you know what? Some of you may think, Smack, why you always have bad taste for stuff like this? Just chill out and enjoy. Listen, I'm not hating on the game from the gender perspective, of course, anything. The fact of the matter is, these characters' story means so much to so many of us, and that at the same time, it's not their solely responsibility responsibility to do what fans say, for sure, they can do whatever they want. Look at the Lost Legacy DLC for Uncharted. Such a different point of view from everything. That right there, over there, being its own thing from a diversity and other part, you know what I'm trying to say. There, it makes sense. It's out of this bubble of the main story, but it's still in sight. When people look at that, they're like, oh, this is a part of the Uncharted universe, but not Nathan's story, if you get my point. However, here, I feel like since we're going to play as this new character, that, trust me, it's not like any guru or anyone predicted that we'll play as this girl who's daughter of a doctor you killed in the first game. Now, had that ending gave that doctor a bit more significance, like maybe a cutscene, maybe a bit more dialogue from Doctor, maybe we have seen that doctor in the past in that story. Maybe that doctor was Marlene. Maybe that doctor was Marlene's cousin. Maybe that doctor was someone related to Ellie. Maybe that doctor was someone related to Joel. Maybe that doctor was related to someone to Tess. You get my point. That would have made it obvious at that time, a little bit, that his story, even after killing, is not over. Then here would have at least made sense to even talk about this character, let alone playing as her. It would have made sense. See, the problem with this game is the story they're trying to achieve with Ellie is actually really fascinating. Her going nuts, killing people on sight, like seriously, her whole mood, tune is insane. Whole tone is insane, and I love it. But when you realize why she's like that, what happened, it's just sad. Playing as Abby, for players to see why she did whatever she did, I'm sure they'll find a way to justify Abby's action in the story in a ridiculous way, but that's not the point. Why do we play as Joel's killer that had no significance in the first place, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to care, who just entered the scene like 9 seconds ago, and now we're supposed to care, not to mention that she killed the beloved character in the franchise, and now you expect us to feel anything other than hatred. She's going around shooting with this purple bow and making out with this guy. Like, who cares what this person does? She just killed the beloved character in the entire franchise, and this is what they're showing about her. And it's not like you play as someone else and you see from other perspective about her. Like, look at characters like Tess, Marlene. You want to show how strong women are in this apocalypse, those are the people to look forward to. Tess should have come back. Look at Tommy's wife. Those are the brave men. I mean, even though we are on the opposite side, but if you want to go for that, that's the way to go. I'm talking about within the Last of Us franchise. Even if Ellie kills Abby, what good does it do? Damage is already done. Joel is gone, but in that way. That's not the point, that Joel is gone, because we know he would have been gone sooner or later. But like that, some may say, well, they don't need to do fan service, or in opposite of that, they would say, if you hate the story, don't play it, don't talk about it. I cared for this franchise for 7 years, ever since the first day, been waiting and putting my trust in Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann, everyone, especially after them saying, put faith and trust in us, we'll do right by you. That was the message for the first game's fans. And then to see a story like this, you want us to think from their perspective? You got it. Now think about all of this from our perspective. Wouldn't you feel disappointment, confusion, anger? Video games and their stories are art. Art is meant to be depicted and interpreted in different ways. That's the whole point. And to make a sequel of that caliber with so much anticipation and hype and excitement, you're gonna have a lot of bad taste around you. I'm not one of them. I'm still playing the game. I'm still getting the game because I'm waiting for that whole part to have a logic reasoning behind it. But at that point, till we get there, don't I have the right to talk about what I have seen with my own very eyes? If video game loses the criticism altogether, what's the point of calling it art in the first place? Something developers strived for decades. Rocksteady finally making action superhero games more than just beat few thugs, save the day, just like movies. It took a long time for video games to reach to that level. It took a long time for video games to be accepted as art. It's still not being accepted by everyone, but it is getting there slowly. I am personally the biggest example here in my home, but I'm still getting the game. Hopefully there's a good reason to that, and I still love the gameplay. I still love Ellie. I still want to see Joel. One last ride with him. Tommy, Jessie, that one girl, I kind of like her. She's on the opposite side, but I kind of like her. Ugh. Either way, that was my 2 cents on the whole Abby not being shown in the marketing and why we criticize her fairly with what we've seen. And if you're gonna say, well, you don't know the reasoning behind it, again, I'm still waiting for the game, but I can't talk about it, alright? Now we will talk about why Joel's death like that is an issue, why are we angry with that, and why it is lazy writing as a general. I will talk about that in some other video, but until then, boys, boys. Stay safe with everything going around in the world. Everything is so political right now. Do you really want to tune the real politics off just to get into other politics in video games right now? I mean, sure, they can do and touch and talk about politics in video games all they want, but not like that. Come on, y'all. Or maybe I am stupid. Maybe I'm not intellectually at that level. But if you are, do let me know. Help me out.